When there is no rice, there is no food.
For someone living in Kenya, rice is part of their livelihood.
And what we are seeing is rice is becoming more and more important because the demand is rising.
Kenya has the highest rice consumption in terms increasing consumption, because the rice consumption at the moment is increasing at 13%. We are importing 85% of our rice requirements.
Government focus is to see how do we expand production to meet that gap so that we reduce on imports. So currently we find it very important, not just for food security, but also for job creation. Rice is among the priority value chains.
There's a huge gap between demand of rice and the production. And these imports, they costed the country about 34.4 billion Kenya shillings. It is also important to note that the per capita consumption for rice in the country has been increasing.
Rice is not important in the past, especially in East Africa and South Africa. It's very much important for a long time in West Africa. But now the increase in consumption of rice due to the change in demographic profile, socioeconomic status and so on, rice become a major crop. And rice is preferred mainly because it is easy to prepare, it can store well, it tastes better.
The importance of rice is where we get our upkeep. We sell rice to get cash, we educate our children, we do everything is surrounded by the rice.
Following the food price crisis in 2008, the African governments, they implemented policies which were meant to double rice production in the African countries. And this actually sparked both the local and the international organizations to develop improved high-yielding rice varieties. And during this period in Kenya, we released about 26 rice varieties. And among them was the Komboka variety, which was actually jointly released between Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization and International Rice Research Institute.
Komboka is based through our traditional breeding methods. We have where we just do traditional crossing and then keep selecting. What we are using molecular approaches also, where we use markers to move genes like sub1 and drought-tolerant genes and so on, so that we can speed our breeding program. But this is all very safe. All of it is done through conventional breeding program that is actually is natural, even happening in nature.
Komboka, this name to this variety was not given by IRRI, this name was not given by KALRO, this name was not given by MRGM. This name was given by farmers. And then this name was picked up from that point, and then Komboka became Komboka. When we tested the suitability of this variety in couple of countries there in Africa, it was found very suitable. Despite this variety being released in 4 countries, it is Kenya where actually Komboka became Komboka, because the amount of popularity and demand that this variety received in Komboka from the farmers, from the value chain partners, from the consumers and so on, it is so overwhelming in Kenya.
So we started the Kenyan breeding program by bringing germplasm and evaluating from our IRRI headquarters. So we had a bigger program in Tanzania, and to say also that Komboka was first released in the region in Tanzania. And then we brought the germplasm here from Tanzania after its release. We evaluated it together with our partners who are very, very critical, KALRO, and also together with National Irrigation Authority. This Komboka variety has really helped us even strengthen our collaboration even stronger, because even in terms of dissemination, the field days, popularization, seed availability, because you understand that a variety is as good as a seed itself. A seed is as good as a variety itself. If the seed is not available, then the farmers will not have access to the variety. So what first we did, KALRO approached MLGM. MLGM, or MWEA Rice Growers Association, is a cooperative that has over 7,000 farmers. And MLGM was able to pick the Komboka seed and produce the certified seed, not only for the farmers who are within the cooperative, but also even the farmers who are also in other parts of the country. Of course, it's very, very important to know that even if the Komboka variety originally came from headquarters, we have released it here in Kenya, and it is this country that Komboka became Komboka, or it is a Kenyan Komboka, because the fact that it was first released in Tanzania, it didn't become the Komboka we have today, because if you look at the law and the revolution that Komboka has caused in the country, for sure, it has really become the Komboka of the country. Komboka meaning to liberate, so it has really been able to liberate especially our farmers, our smallholder farmers.
Effective seed system is very, very it's very important factor for any variety to be disseminated. For that matter, I would say any new variety, not just for rice, for you take any crop. If there is no effective seed system, then the no matter how good your variety is, that variety will just still remain in the shelf, right? So through this kind of partnership with MRGM and also with KALRO and other skilling partners, we made sure that we have end-to-end partnership, and we can actually deliver value not just to the farmers but also to the consumers.
Public-private partnership is critical for Africa. The reason for that is the economies of most of the countries we are working with are not strong enough to be able to support their research programs, their seed production programs, and also their deployment of the varieties, demonstrations, and then wide out scaling to farmers. Most of these can be done by private companies, and that is why we really work with governments to make sure that they recognize the role of private companies as something that is important and critical for the growth and development of agriculture in each country.
The reason why we succeeded in Komboka was because of the partnership we had with for example, with the International Rice Research Institute. They supported us to disseminate this variety, and also the private sector was there. So for you to succeed in disseminating or promoting any of these technologies, innovations, and management practices, it is important that we do partnership, because with partnership we can be able to succeed and ensure that our products are with the farmers. These promotions and disseminations and adoption of Komboka, it led to about over 3,000 farmers adopting the variety. And as we talk, we have majority of the farmers now choosing Komboka as their variety of choice when it comes to cultivation of rice varieties.
So what sparked the introduction of the brand and the release of Komboka is the hand and the aim to meet or to be able to cater for the gap in production, because you find that Komboka yields more than double of what the other varieties the farmers are growing. In addition, Komboka has very good latunability. Usually when you harvest a crop, like when you harvest a rice crop, mostly you cut between 15 to 20 centimeters when you harvest the stump. So you harvest, and then after that, you leave that to utilize the moisture that is on the ground. Then you allow it to grow with minimal inputs. That's a first latun. Then after that, once you harvest again, you cut at around 15 to 20 centimeters, then you leave it again, and it takes a shorter time. From the second latun, because the farmers are doing 2 latun, second latun, farmers have reported getting up to 7 tons. Then there is a third latun. Third latun, the farmers can also be able to get 3 to 4 tons. When you really hand up all this, almost 20 tons from one crop time.
When Komboka was introduced and I tried the first time, I found that it was better, far much better than the other breeds. After Komboka, my life changed so much because the production of Komboka is very high and the expenses are very minimal.
The yield of basmati, which is very popular in MWEA, it gives little yield, small yield. But Komboka has about double the production of basmati. When you grow Komboka, you are about automatically you will get much money than the others.
Komboka, compared to the previous variety, Komboka gives me double the previous variety per acre, because the previous variety used to give me an average of 25 bags, but this one gives me an average of 45 to 50.
In my latun, in those 2 acres of basmati, I harvested 15 bags, but in Komboka I harvested 26. If everybody can grow this Komboka, they will have much money, they will have much food.
When Komboka came on board, it was addressing the issue of new high-yielding consumer-preferred varieties. Our movement was hastened because now we could move faster to meeting that need, addressing the challenge of demand gap.
Komboka is offering all the market preferences, whether it is from the consumer perspective or from miller's perspective, and also from the farmer's perspective. But then Komboka is a variety which can offer exactly matching market preferences as that of Pishori. So I would look at it from this perspective that while the farmers were growing Pishori, which is Basmati 370, all these years, and they were not getting the yield as much as they get from Komboka. Now here is which is like new option for them, which is yielding significantly higher than what they have been getting. So I mean, this is the biggest, I would say, differentiator which we were able to really offer to the farmers.
One of the major components was on its IRRI maturity. The 80054 was taking about 150 days against Komboka, which was taking 115 to 120. So in terms of IRRI maturity, Komboka won.
The other thing is that with Komboka, it is moderately tolerant to drought. And therefore, this means that when the farmers experience water shortage or moisture stress, they are also assured of an harvest. And the other thing is that Komboka can be grown in both under the irrigated and the rain-fed lowland ecologies. Now, to the miller, Komboka is it has a head rice recovery of about 60 to 65%. To the consumer, Komboka is very tasty. It is also aromatic, so it is preferred by the consumers. Komboka means to be liberated.
To liberate means transformation for me, means not only transformation in terms of food security.
When I saw Komboka, I saw a variety which actually will enable the country to move from deficit to being increasing the volumes or increasing the production of rice in the country.
As name stands, so this variety has been contributing significantly in terms of better rice production, better yields, and better economic benefits.
It has liberated me from that life of struggling so much to feed my family, to educate my children. It has liberated me from being a slave of paying rent, and I'm even able to help my parents.
Our breeding program has to continue because we have to develop still varieties that are better than Komboka, retain the characteristics that is needed, but at the same time improve on other traits like yield, nutritional aspects of it.
Research is a continuous process, right? So it cannot be stopped, and it should not be stopped as well. Now, eventually, going ahead, when farmers will start demanding for some improvement, and we from the scientific community, we know that we have to really improve our given variety for the current challenges and also for the upcoming challenges.
It is still a very long way to go. If you look at most of our writing or about our mission and goals and so on, we now completely changed. In the past, we look at food security, but now we use 3 words: food, nutrition, and income security. And that is the future.